Hello. Hello, everybody. This is Yasmin, and I know you remember Yasmin Thomas, your host, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of X and the Single Mom podcast, and sometimes you'll see it as X.S.M. Today's podcast is about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and I decided that I'll circle back later to the Inconsistent Parent series, which I started because I want to follow up with that. I also want to do a few workshops, but I didn't want to stay there right now. It was on my heart. And this episode is called Soft Life versus Real Life for single moms. And we're going to talk a little bit about what actually works. I wanted to talk to you because there's been something of interest floating around social media, and it had to do with, oh my goodness, the passing of a young and vibrant woman. I believe her real name was Ashley Robinson, also known as Ashley Janae. I try to stay relevant because of the work I'm doing affects moms in this demographics, young ladies. And so I started thinking about some of the dangers and the idea of a so-called soft life. I do know one thing. As a single mom, that concept can be just a tad disconnected from reality. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and I want to welcome all my listeners back. And again, this is Yasmin, another episode of X and a Single Mom podcast. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what is a soft life. I really started thinking about that. And I wanted to think about what is a soft life. And I started thinking that it has something to do with resting, luxuriating without too much stress. In some instances, or most instances, being taken care of. The opportunity to live peacefully. Designer clothes, bags, trips. Posting about these beautiful and fun places that you're at. And let me say this to be clear, because we can all have goals. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but I come from a different demographics. I'm a veteran or ex-single mom, meaning my children are grown. And I come back to you with wisdom, knowledge, and reflection. And that's how we can do so many of these discussions. What I want to share is that a soft life in moments can exist in a single mom's life. And the danger I see is so many young women on social media promoting, chasing this so-called soft life. So with that in mind, I then thought about the contrast. Reality for a single mom. So for a single mom, life is just a little different. You are the caregiver of somebody else, a person you made, and you're responsible for that. You're a planner, you're a provider, and everything else that you can think of in between. And here's the kicker. When you're a single mom, there's no off switch. And the reason I mention that is because what we see online, that is not someone's real life per se. Okay, what do I mean by that? We see things on social media, and what it really is documentation in most instances of a soft moment in someone's life or a series of soft moments. Does that necessarily mean a soft life? It could, but it also doesn't have to. But what I want my single moms to stop doing is chasing and comparing their life to someone else's highlighted moments. All right. The responsibility side of a soft life. I can't say it enough. I'm thinking everyone wants a soft life. I mean, I know I do. But no one talks about the responsibility that comes with creating one as a single mom. Because here's the truth. If you say someone has a soft life, it seems like they're avoiding responsibility. And that's just my take on it. I think you can manage responsibility in your life and make your life somewhat peaceful. But as a mom, a single mom, you do not get to opt out of certain things. You're still responsible for a lot of things, and you can't just shut down. You just cannot. But I'm here to tell you that on the other side, you can have almost whatever life you want. And we all know that as a single mom, you have to provide and protect your child. You must provide stability. You have to protect your child emotionally. And sometimes you have to make certain decisions as a single mom that you may not make if you had that so-called soft life. You have to show up consistently whether you want to or not. And here's the sad reality. You may not be able to acquire or buy certain luxury items. But listen, if that's important to you, it's not right now. You can plan for it. You really, really can. But what I want you to understand is that with the soft life, it almost seems like it's fun, fun, fun all the time. For single moms, you have to choose peace, you have to rest, and you can have soft moments. All right. As a single mom, you might ask yourself, how are you going to handle everything that needs to be done? But listen, moms, let's just be realistic. And I've said this in many other podcasts. You have to create schedules. You have to set boundaries. So what I want to do is take a little moment, a flash in time, and see what a soft life looks like for a single mom. And again, these are just my opinions and feelings that I'm sharing with whoever it resonates with. And if it doesn't resonate with you, don't put it down, because there's someone else that it may resonate with. Everything's not for everybody. So I want to be clear with that. So for a single mom, you have to have structure in your life and not chaos. You have to choose to set boundaries so you won't burn out. You have to deal with priorities so you can minimize some of the pressures. I say it in every podcast almost. Peace. You have to have peace in your home. Even if your life doesn't seem perfect, because listen, we're not perfect, so that means nothing's perfect. So what it also looks like is you need to know when to say no. And remember, my queens, you can never overextend yourself, because your first priority is your children. So you may have to create routines that seem boring when you compare them to the soft life. But those routines make your life easier. I would think that you should choose calm. And when you're dealing with something, you have to have calm responses. Sometimes I get a little tongue-tied, so forgive me, queens. instead of constant stress. But think about this. I heard a mom tell me that she feels like she's failing. Well, you're not failing. You're functioning and living in reality. So let's be clear about this. Very, very clear. All right? Your life doesn't look like what you admire online. And it's fascinating to me because so many people judge themselves on what they see as they're scrolling. This doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. This is not your reality. So, and also remember, sometimes people online just post stuff to be posting it, and it's not their real life either. So, I want you to understand that your number one priority is how you handle your responsibilities. And there's nothing soft about pretending that those responsibilities don't exist. But there is something very powerful in learning how to carry that differently. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, instead of chasing a soft life or wishing you had one, you can't ignore your reality. You have to build a life that supports where you are, and there's no escaping your responsibilities. Single moms, just none. It's about learning how to manage your life in a way that doesn't break you. And I have a few tips. You can create a realistic version of a soft life, and you can always have goals. Remember, moms, my queens, stop overloading yourself. Learn to say no. I've said this in other podcasts. Schedule all your activities, including your future goals and aspirations. You make plans for those. And you also schedule your downtime, your soft time. Okay? So what I want moms to do is learn how to build systems around what they're doing. And we'll talk about that in future episodes. I need you to protect your mental space. You must learn to create your peace. And again, I'm going to remind you over and over in many podcasts, you can rest without feeling guilty. So, my single moms, as I close out this episode, I want you to know that you're not doing life wrong. Social media is just that. Social media captures and shares moments in time. Something to do, not their total reality either. And it's definitely not a true indication of how they're living. And again, it's because I got inspired by that young lady that chased that, and we don't even know what happened to her. But anyhow, remember, you're building something. You can build toward that life you want. And you are raising humans. Humans that you made. And I'm going to do my best to share with you, give you some tools, and remember that there's love there. Love in your household. So moms, I want to thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to another episode of X.S.M, X in a Single Mom podcast. And remember, queens, I never say goodbye. I say so long for now. I do want to add this, and I haven't pushed this enough. Please share this podcast with any other single mothers that you may know, or people that you think know someone else that's a single mom. And I'm going to be sharing a special offer. The first 20 people who email me at xsmpodcast@gmail.com. That's xsmpodcast@gmail.com. And put in a subject line, I want it. And what I'm going to do is give you a free resource. It's free. There's no strings attached. It's nothing. I created this a long time ago. And it's 10 tips or hacks, whatever you want to call it, for self-care for the busy single mom. So, as we come to a close, I'm going to say it again. Thank you. Thank you so, so much for listening to another episode of X and the Single Mom podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And you can visit me at www.xandthesinglemom.com. You can also email me at xsmpodcast@gmail.com. So long, till we meet again.